I was labeled uncontrollable and incorrigible, like I was some wild child that just couldn't be controlled, which is hysterical because obviously I was very controllable because I was controlled by a trafficker for over a decade. I'm originally from Fairfax, Virginia, quiet suburban neighborhood. But I was experiencing things there that no child ever should experience, trauma, abuse. So the summer I turned 12, I decided to run away from home. A young woman approached me and she said something like, "Are you hungry?" I went back with her to her apartment where a male she introduced as her boyfriend was waiting, but he was actually her trafficker. Came quickly to understand that when an adult offered me a place to stay for the night, that came with a price. They began training me for purposes of prostitution. I knew my body was turning into a commodity. So part of their work was already done there. When I ran away from home, I wasn't just running away from that horrific environment. I was running to find things that all children want. Not just shelter and food, but I mean, love, attention, discipline, all of those things that I didn't know I needed. And that's what traffickers and that's what predators know, and that's what they act like they're providing. He started talking to me about, what happened to you at home? Why did you run away? And I'm going to be your protector. Because he knew. He knew I was vulnerable. They're predators and they're hunters, and they know how to single out vulnerable people, and children are vulnerable just because they're children. Another young girl out on this track, out on the street, that introduced me to heroin, and it took away all the pain and everything else that I was experiencing, and I was able to just move one foot in front of the other. I know I was going to die, and I just didn't want to die. And I just pulled myself into a clinic, like a drug clinic. And it was the person at the front desk. She went above and beyond her scope of work. And she took time to give me eye contact and treat me like a human being. And I don't remember feeling like that. And I left, and I never went back. This is 14th and I Streets, and this is where the track used to be, where a lot of street prostitution and victims of human trafficking were forced to sell their bodies. There across the street was a hotel, an hourly rate motel. It wasn't until 2012 I was in my home in Arlington, Virginia, and I was in a dark place. There was a newscast about a pretty big arrest of human traffickers, gang members in Northern Virginia. Then they started talking about the recruitment techniques that these people were using to victimize and exploit these young women. And I went, what? I self-identified as a victim for the first time in my life. I went, that's what happened to me. Now I have a name for it. And I had all this flood of emotions, and one of them was anger that it was still happening.
Say you're arrested for prostitution, you're arrested for drugs, you're arrested for loitering. Now let's say you were 13 when this happened and you were being forced to do all of this by a trafficker.
More was carrying the stigma of being called a criminal, because I wasn't a criminal. People think that it doesn't affect them, or it never will affect their loved ones or anybody that they know. Everybody's heard the spiel about, be careful, watch what your children are doing online. But it's true. I mean, traffickers can be right in your living room. I feel like it's my job to educate, to bring awareness to law enforcement, to see this person as a possible victim, not a criminal. What created this victim? What is a trafficker? How does a trafficker think? Not just like what are the possible signs, how is he turning this person into a commodity?
The main method of control for traffickers, especially sex traffickers, is the formation of the trauma bond.
Since I began doing the work I do today, I feel like I've taken my life back, encouraging people to take time to see each other as fellow human beings and treat each other with kindness and compassion, no matter what your belief systems may be.